Let's do this thing. Hey everybody, Nick Beetleston from Good Impacts here. And as part of the second day of our 0 to 80 in 80 campaign, we're focusing heavily on the community section of the BIA. And I've got my friend Sirena from Creative Chi here to pick her brain and help guide me through improving my score in the community section. So yeah, hey Serena, do you want to say hi to the folks and talk a little bit about what Creative Chi does?
Yeah. Hi, Nick. Thank you for having me on today. Creative Chi is a purpose-based branding agency. And I started the agency about 5 years ago. I just went through my second renewal for the B Corp certification, which was a lot of fun. I did manage to increase my points. Okay. And I'm looking forward to doing it again so I can get even higher points. We scored tremendously high on community. It's what we pride ourselves on at Creative Chi, being able to keep things local. Really, community engagement around what the B Corp movement is too is a huge part of what I do. I was running a nonprofit based on that, on creating that impact in Miami. Florida is way behind the rest of the United States as far as the amount of B Corps that we have here. So when I first became a B Corp, I realized that one of the best things I could do was start to educate the community what a B Corp was. So I did start a nonprofit around that, and I am still on that mission to shift the business environment in Miami, hopefully in the world, but we're going to start with Miami.
Yeah, although I think Florida does have benefit corporation legislation, which
Yes.
Michigan does not. I think we're one of only a couple of states. I don't know what we're waiting for, but
I am actually, that was one of the things I was shocked when I found out that we did have that designation, and I immediately got that. That was a lot easier than the B Corp certification. And surprisingly enough, it was Rick Scott who passed it, who is, notoriously right wing. So this is not a bipartisan thing. It really, both sides of the aisle can come together on doing good for the planet and for people within our businesses.
I know there's currently a couple of bills out there in Michigan that would hopefully push that forward. And this isn't the first time, but there isn't really the opposition that there was last time. It's just lots of priorities right now, lots of challenges. Although, I mean, I would argue creating benefit corporation legal structure could be a great part of rebuilding after some of the major challenges we've seen over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and in sort of that resilience and infrastructure, and that's all sort of baked into B Corps, and really having corporations kind of, it's really about not relying on the government for assistance, for help, but the business is sort of helping one another to create something that's more sustainable, that's more resilient, for businesses to actually help communities. So that way you're actually less reliant on the government for handouts and things like that, because the businesses are really establishing their communities and giving back and going in and helping whatever it is, find jobs or eat better or whatever the myriad of issues that you might have in a community. The businesses are actually going forth and doing this rather than it being a tax thing or a government thing, although both things sort of are best. But I think it's actually a good thing to, not just for the left or the right, but it's a meeting ground on both sides. I can find things to argue on both sides to say, hey, this is good for you and it's good for me, and it's good for the social, it's good for business, it's just good.
So speaking of good, why does Creative Chi year over year do really well on the community component of the BIA in particular? What are some of the things that you're involved in?
Oh, in the past was running a nonprofit, pre-COVID was running a nonprofit out in the community, teaching people basically about B Corp, about how to work together, supporting one another, how to do conscious business. And actually now, more recently, since COVID, I'm actually helping some other people in Florida actually propose stuff to go through Congress and try to get it to become easier in Florida to become a B Corp. And when I say easier, um, to become a benefit corporation, it's not easy in the state of Florida. It's easy in the sense that you don't have to do a lot of things, but it's very difficult to find the information to actually do it. Like, we don't have access online. You have to literally write a letter and mail it in, and all that stuff should have much more access. And one of the things that we're doing right now is bringing that before people that are in the state and saying, hey, let's move towards doing this, and maybe getting some funding for our schools to promote the education in the universities. They're doing actually a really great job right now, but we want to reach the whole state and all universities.
Thinking back to when you were doing a lot of that outreach to the business community, do you remember what some of the major misconceptions that you heard around being a B Corp, getting certified, or, conversely, maybe some of the things that were holding people back from starting that process?
I think that some people heard B Corp or benefit corporation, and they think that it's like a nonprofit. But it's not. We are very much different. We're very much for profit. Part of that people, planet, profit is the last part, which is profit. The businesses need to be sustainable on their own. We're not giving all of our money away. And I think that that's one of the things that hold a lot of people back, especially people that are a little bit more conservative. That, what do you mean I'm going to make money? I'm going to give it all away. No, we don't want you to give your money away. We just want you within your business to look at your impact on your community, on your employees, on the planet, and make that be a positive ripple effect. You could keep all of your money, well, I mean, you have to pay fair wages, but other than that, you're welcome to make profits as much as you want. It's just a matter of doing business with your eyes wide open and saying, this is how I'm impacting my community. This is how I'm impacting my stakeholders, and making sure that you're doing that in a way that's causing a positive ripple effect.
I'll have to look it up, and I'll include it in the notes when I post this video. I can't remember the name of the podcast, but I was just listening to Jared at Legacy Vacation Resorts being interviewed, and he was talking about how, for so many businesses, there are all sorts of things that intentionally or unintentionally they're doing negatively within their business, and then they cut a check at the end of the year to philanthropy. So he said, if you're doing things wrong inside your business, there's really no amount of money that you can pay to offset that. And he said that he would rather have a year where he doesn't donate any money to local, national, international charities, but does everything to the best of their ability inside their company to reduce their environmental footprint, to raise social awareness. He'd rather do that than cut that check at the end of the year. And that was just you put it much more succinctly than I just did, but
completely agree with that sentiment. And there unfortunately are a lot of companies in that sort of greenwashing space that are like, don't look at all of the evil, or I shouldn't say, I don't want to use the word evil. Don't look at all of the negative impact or the damage to the planet or the damage to people or the questionable labor practices that your vendors might have in who knows where, China, India. Let's not look at any of that, but look over here, we started this nonprofit, or look at all of the money that we put over here. It's like, it's a holistic approach. You need to look at, I say always start from the inside. Things rot from the inside. And if you're not looking at your stakeholders, your employees, the company culture is where it starts, and employees are looking for that, and employees will work tirelessly and so much more for you if you can give them that. And really, it's not that difficult to say, we're going to do something other than just make profits. We're going to look at people and planet, and how do we do that within our business? What makes the most sense? And we're going to find the people that are aligned with that. And it's been proven time and time again that it flourishes and that it works. It might not work as fast as your investors might like, which is why we have B Corp.
While you were saying that, something dawned on me. We've never really talked about this before, but I think we have expressed have expressed frustration with businesses that are doing good things in their community for the environment across their supply chain, but they don't really tell that story. And there's some weird pressures maybe against raising your hand and saying, like, yeah, actually, yeah, we are a good business and we're doing a lot of good things, but no one has that problem like announcing they're now a B Corp. It's a Becoming a B Corp is an interesting opportunity for businesses to, stand up and shout about it in a way that I just don't see them doing with other initiatives that they have, if that makes any sense.
I know what you're talking about, and there are businesses that it's just not in their marketing plan. And I
Mhm.
get that for whatever reason that their marketing shtick is something else, and it's just not part of it. And I get that as a marketing person, that maybe that's just it doesn't make sense for your marketing plan, so you just steer away from it, even though you are doing great stuff.
Have
Most of
an
the companies
obligation
are
to talk about it.
most of the companies are yelling it though, if they're doing it. And a lot of them are yelling it and they're not doing it. They're doing this and they're yelling like this. Um, so to become a B Corp is at least to have it's a certification. It's, like a USDA organic stamp. Somebody, a third party is going in there and saying, you are doing this. There's tons and tons of companies right now that are using that sustainability label. It means nothing. Sustainability can mean whatever you want it. Some people think that if they stopped using plastic straws, their company is sustainable. Us in B Corp know that that's not the truth, and that we need to be the triple bottom line: people, planet, and profit. That's, to me, that's what equals sustainability when you're taking those three things into account in your business. Um, so the B Corp certification sort of means that you're doing that. I mean, at least you did it that 1 year at a minimum, that you went through the certification and somebody looked at your stuff and said, yeah, show me where you're doing this. And also they're held to a bigger standard, a higher standard. If a B Corp, does something bad or screws up, the whole world is going to know about it. I mean, it's going to be on the front paper somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, that accountability, both of the third party certification, right? So Beelabs has, you've raised your hand and said, yeah, we're sustainable. And Beelabs has then looked at your impact assessment and worked with you over the course of months. And they determined, actually, yeah, it turns out you guys are pretty sustainable. Or you may have over exaggerated your positive impacts in the world. Time to work on that a little bit. So there's the third party certification accountability, but you also hit on the broader B Corp community accountability. They know where the negative actors are, um, and they don't last long in that community.
Yeah, and every company is might slip up to a certain degree, because there are humans working in these companies. They're not machines that you press a button and go, okay, now you're sustainable. You're gonna take into consideration the planet and people in everything that you do. Yes, that's the company culture. That's what we want to do, but we're human. We live in this world, and I think that a part of that is when you slip up, you admit to it and you say, yeah, this wasn't so cool. So we're going to change this. We're going to shift this. And here is an opportunity for us to grow and do something different or better.
So by way of bringing the conversation together, what would you say, or what have you said to those businesses that you've been connected with that are still sitting on the sidelines, that haven't made that shift yet to start taking the free assessment, to have those internal conversations? Yeah, what would you say to those businesses to help them take that first step?
So I have run into plenty of businesses that really like B Corp. They want to become a B Corp, but maybe they're smaller and they don't have the manpower to do it. And there are resources out there. We have I don't want to say this on a recording because everybody might flock to them, but the universities tend to have courses and tend to have interns that will help you walk through it. And I have seen a few of the companies walk through it, and a couple of them actually get that, get the 80 points with help of the students. The other ones, at least they have the path set out for them and they know where they need to change and they're moving towards that. And that's really all we can ask for right now.
and reaching out to other B Corps. Before I hit record, Sirena sent me a bunch of resources, things that she's put together for Creative Chi that are going to be so helpful for getting good impacts to where we want to be on the BIA. And we don't have to create it from scratch. We can reach out to those folks that have already, gone through the process and are farther along the journey. That's so liberating. And that interconnectivity is what being a B Corp is all about.
I mean, not just because I scored the highest in community, but I've always, and it makes sense. It's a reflection, right, of who we are as individuals, our company. Um, I have always been a sort of a networker, a community builder, I don't know, I want to say a leader, but it's not like the leader that leads you at work. It's the leader that leads with, being a Tai Chi instructor or doing a beach cleanup or just wanting to do things that feel right for the world that I want to create. And then people follow because I think that ultimately everybody wants to live that same life in the world that they want to create. So yeah, community is really important. And at any point, and I've always told people, you need something, you want to be a B Corp, of course, I do the branding and marketing to sort of fit that whole narrative, but you don't have to work with me. You can just say, hey, can you share your handbook? Yeah, here. What's the best way to get the 80 points? Well, I can tell you right now that there's, becoming a benefit corporation, easy, 10 points, go get it. Here's all the information in Florida of how to do that because it's not easy and you're not going to find it online. So here you go. I have no problem sharing that. I want more B Corps. I want more fellow organizations that I can work with and have in community locally. Because once again, my local community is the most important because it's the one that I can impact the most.
I don't think we're going to top that, Serena. So let's, I know we could keep talking forever. Yeah, let's leave it there and I'll let you get back to improving your community.
Yeah.